Salut, David Allman here. Today we're going to talk about improvisation. But we're not going to talk about scales, we're not going to talk about technique, we're not going to talk about modes, and yet, I think this might help some of you guys. This lesson is more of a mental lesson. We're going to think about what's happening up here when you're playing. First, let's talk about music a little bit. What is music? Music is a language where we're communicating ideas, not with words, but with rhythm ideas and pitches. In that regards, we can make the parallel between a standard conversation with words and music. And when you're having a conversation with someone, there's two elements that I can think of that we can apply to music. The first one is the actual language used. If you were going to Japan, you would try to speak Japanese. If you're going to France, you would speak French. If not, you're not going to be understood. Same with music. The language that you're going to use needs to correspond to the conversation. The language is going to be directed by the chords you're playing over. So if you're playing over a backing track that was written according to the Aeolian scale, the language you're going to use is going to be Aeolian. If you don't, you're probably not going to be understood. And what you're saying with your instrument is not really going to make any sense according to the chords you're playing over. Element number 2 is tone. If you witness two people fighting, they're probably using the same kind of tone. They're screaming at each other. If you see two lovers in a coffee shop talking about I don't know what, they're probably not going to scream at each other. They're probably going to speak very gently, very softly. Same with music. You want to take into consideration the tone of the backing track. Language and tone are very important when it comes to improvisation. You've got to be aware of the language used, the key used, and the tone used, the feel of the backing track. And if you want to play according to what the backing track is telling you, you need to listen. That's rule number 1 when you improvise. Don't start throwing ideas right away. Be silent at first and let the backing track establish the vocabulary that's going to be used. Don't play anything for the first few bars. Listen to the backing track, and mentally you're going to take notes of a lot of different information. Language, the key, the tone, the feel, all these things are going to be given to you by the backing track. The backing track is pretty much going to tell you what to play if you spend time making the work of mentally thinking of all these things. Start developing musical ideas in your head before you even play them on your instrument. It's really going to help you. Start slow. Don't throw out there the fastest licks that you have because 1, people are going to think that you're showing off. 2, most likely people are not going to remember what you're playing. And 3, if you play your fastest right at the beginning, you can only go slower from there. Keep the fast licks, the impressive licks at certain spots of your improv. It's like the cherry on top of the cake. You need the cake first. I hope these thoughts are inspiring to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, salut!